What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, and today that beautiful white Ducati Monster is getting a first ride. You guys are about to see what I personally think is the most beautiful cinematic footage I have gotten for a first ride bike to date. I cannot wait to get this bike started. Oh my god, we're doing this thing. ...2016 Ducati Monster 821. You guys can see we're joined by the baby Session. He is going to be joining us today. Alrighty, playing around with the modes. There we go. Oh my god. Dude, this exhaust is stock. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's incredible. Okay, let's get these gloves on and let's get this video started. Alright, so guys, we're going to start out on urban mode. And that's probably going to be the slowest mode. Alright. God, that is a thick shifter. That thing is gnarly. Woo! Alrighty. Interesting. So, my foot is touching the exhaust. The ergonomics on that are a little sketch. Wow, this, I'm trying to, hold on, I want to see what my foot's touching, because that's terrifying. Where's neutral? Oh, it doesn't like neutral? Okay. Oh, okay, the passenger peg, got it. Alright, now I know. Okay, 2016 Ducati Monster 821. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you guys from previous experience with Ducatis, they sound amazing, but they sound like crap on video. So just know that it's so comfortable. God, this bike is comfortable. So this is just one of those bikes that doesn't like neutral. I assume after you get some miles on the bike, it's going to feel a little better. Oh, wow, you can actually adjust the mirrors. Wow, that's great. Okay, good job, mirrors. And they don't look like crap. I'd probably take them off anyway, but it's pretty cool to have mirrors that you don't have to instantly take off and that you can actually adjust. I've been having trouble lately where the bikes I ride, the mirrors are super hard to adjust. What is my leg touching? Is my leg touching that? Oh, goodness. That's like an exhaust guard. I bet that thing's going to get hot as hell. So as you guys can probably guess, this bike is super upright. But one thing I'm finding interesting is the tank is really high. Like, really high. And it makes the bike feel bigger than it actually is, because the bike, it's a little heavy, it's a little short and heavy, but it's not that big. But look at this tank. The tank is almost even with the, ooh, truck, please don't. You know, the exhaust sounds way louder off the bike, and now being on the bike, it doesn't sound as loud as it did earlier. And that's a good thing. That's like perfect case scenario, because that way I don't have to deal with a super loud noise in my ears, and everybody else hears the roar. So yeah, seating position wise, I'm slightly bent over, but that's not very much. It's majority upright. I'm not a fan of the clutch. You have to pull it all the way in to get any adjusting, whether that be shifting gears or getting into neutral or anything. It has to be all like touching the handlebar. I'm more of a fan of the little feather clutch where you just pull it in a little bit and you can shift and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm also not a huge fan of this urban mode. Like, if it was raining or if I had somebody on here with me, like, it's got a little bit, but like this bike should have way more than that. We're gonna get it into touring in a second. Actually, we're gonna pull over real quick and get into the touring mode. Double tap the square thing. Okay, so let's go into touring mode. I'm gonna hold the square button now. Touring, okay, there you go. So now ABS is on 2, Ducati traction control is on 4. Those numbers mean absolutely zilch to me. God, now they mean something. That is what I was expecting when I was getting on a Ducati Monster. Woo! This thing is fun to flick around. I think some of that has to do with the handlebars. Wow, I put the brights on. Whoopsie! With having really nothing on the handlebars, it makes you feel like there's nothing in front of you. So if you've never ridden like a naked bike, you're gonna have to figure that out. I just realized I put my right foot up on the top of the peg, and I realized my leg is not touching against that exhaust thing anymore. Thank God, because that was bad. The gear shifting is very rough, very tactile. You're gonna put a lot of force. You're gonna put a lot of force on that shifter to get it to go. Like, I'm trying to shift with like the front of my toe, and that's a no-go. Between that and the clutch having to be pulled all the way in, it's like two rocks hitting each other. You got to really like hit them hard to make something happen. I'm just kind of cruising, and granted, I'm in touring mode, but like I give it a little bit of throttle and it doesn't instantly like go. I actually like that a lot because I don't remember what bike it was recently, but I rode a bike that just had a lot of bite off the edge, and that's terrifying. Like, that'll catch you off guard. God almighty. What? Alright, so we're gonna head up here and get on the highway because I'm very curious what a bike like this is gonna be like on the highway, because like I told you, there's nothing in front of you. So with having really no fairings, this is gonna be a pretty good test for this bike, because the highway mathematically should not be good. There's nothing really blocking the wind for me, so we'll see how that goes. Getting onto the highway, not going to be a problem at all. Okay, there's a red light here, so I'm going to be able to put it into sport mode, which should be full-blown bike does what I want it to do without any restrictions type stuff. Now, typically when you put a bike into sport mode, that's when you get that like twitchy throttle that when you hit it, you kind of like fly forward. So I'm going to be testing that. ABS in sport mode is in 1, Ducati traction control at 2. I imagine you can custom change those things to turn them totally off, or at least I would imagine you could. It would be weird if you couldn't. Alrighty, highway entrance with no gas. Awesome, perfect timing. I really wish I had a gear indicator though. That's something I'm missing that I feel like I should have here. Oh wow, that's okay. So we're in sport mode and we're in neutral though. Okay, we're just gonna stop. That's terrifying. I'm gonna pull the clutch all the way in. Okay. Okay, I just shifted down, so I'm now in a gear. That's terrifying, man. Alright, let's go ahead and... we got back on the road, so that's a thing. All right, let's go get gas before we literally run out of gas. Probably shouldn't be riding like this when I'm out of gas, but whatever. We're on a mission to find gas really quickly. I need a gas station. Gas station, that's what I'm talking about. We made it, okay. Woo! Not gonna be running out of gas on this first ride. Where the hell am I now? Alright, we're gonna get gas and then we'll be back. Alrighty, the Monster has now been fed. Now we can continue this first ride. Kind of going around the parking lot, I feel like the handlebars don't really move around a lot. Odd little quirk that I'm seeing. The way the throttle responds on this bike, you kind of have to turn it before anything happens. So you see how, watch how we turn it. Gas is now going on, and that doesn't seem like a lot probably to you guys, but as I'm sitting here riding it and I give it gas, it's not really, the gas doesn't come on when I'm expecting it to. I don't know, that mixed with the clutch and the shifting being really hard, it's kind of, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence riding this bike, which is weird. All right, let's give it a little bit of gas off this thing and cut around this Zoe's kitchen truck. And let's kind of see what it feels like then. This thing makes me feel like the bike is so massive. The gas thing is just really bulbous. I do like the lines though. I've said that in a lot of videos. I like when bikes, for no reason, just for aesthetics, give these little lines. It's probably for some science aerodynamic information. Oh my god, that thing is so hot. Alright. Oh, I see how you're supposed to ride this bike. Okay, that makes sense. Another thing I'm not a big fan of is the turn signal. There's no little click. It's kind of, you just push it, it's mushy and you push it one way. I'm having to look for the turn signal to come on to make sure I actually turned it on. I would rather have like a really nice clicking feeling, but not really getting that at all. Also, I've accidentally put the brights on a couple times now, which also not the best thing ever. Yeah, this is just a bike that it wants you to full throttle it. It's got torque, you just gotta full throttle this thing. And when I say that, I don't mean if you're new. If you're new to riding and for some reason you were like, you know what, I'm buying an 821 Ducati Monster, don't go around full throttling it at all. I'm just saying, if you really want to feel this bike, that's where it is. And that also eliminates that little play in the throttle where, you know, you don't got to worry about it, because you just full throttle right past that little area. Yeah, we're going up about 90 now. And the wind, I mean, it's bad, but it's not crazy. You can handle that. Turn signals suck. Luckily, that's not that big of a deal with a bike, so you don't have to worry about it. Going slow on this bike is not fun. As soon as you ride it like that, though, suddenly you're like, ah, I understand now. Okay, okay. All right, we're going to do a little UEU. Oh, we're going to race this van? Is that what's happening? Whoa, my God. Okay, it gets put into neutral, I put it into second, and then she wheelies. What the hell is this bike right now? It's like a bucking bronco. It does not want to be ridden, and if you're gonna ride it, you better ride it hard or it will kill you. It will eat your face. You ride it like some little pansy, this bike is not okay with that at all. Alright, we're holding it. We're holding it and go. There we go. Okay. That's really nice that you can do that on the go and you just have to close the throttle. I think Ducatis are typically bad about that, where they make you, they don't let you normally change modes while you're going. You have to come to a total stop, or at least the Panigale I rode was like that. I tell you guys, you know, I'm telling you how I feel about the bike and how it makes me feel and what feels what way and what feels the other way, but there's a thing about a bike that you just can't tell somebody, and coming up with words for it is hard. But whatever that thing is, this bike has. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just fun, like raw fun, or what, but something about it, it's doing right. It doesn't feel crazy fast, doesn't feel like it has a ton of torque. The seat's super comfortable, so like for all the things I've said, it should be like, yeah, it's an alright bike. But this bike it's got something else. So like I said, in the showroom, moving it around, the bike feels a little heavy. The steering wheel doesn't turn a lot, but you get it going, and the bike is really maneuverable. And it has no problem going side to side. It's so weird to tell you guys, like, all these kind of what would seem mediocre, and then tell you the bike has some type of mysterious thing that's awesome. I don't know, man. Sitting there looking at it, look at this, like, this is metal, this is metal. This bike has, and granted, you know, these bikes are expensive. This isn't some cheap, naked, super naked bike. This thing is not cheap, but you know what? It doesn't feel cheap. Like, everything about this bike feels premium, or at least from what I've experienced of the bike. And moving it like this, super seamless. The bike feels fine. The second I get a little farther over, it has like a diminishing return. The farther over you go, I'm not gonna ramp that. The farther over you go, the less solid it feels. You lose some of that like little agility you get a feeling for. It's got some weird quirks. Oh, that feeling of going through a turn and like the really meaty engine just pulling you out of it. Oh, even she didn't expect the meaty engine. No, luckily she was watching what she was doing. It's really hard to not love that feeling of a really torquey engine pulling you through a turn. That's, hey, what is happening? What is happening right now? Does nobody notice a freaking Ducati? My God, come on, people. I know it has a lot of torque, like that's what this bike is made to do, is have that torquey engine, but the way it gives you the torque makes you feel like it's not that torquey. But when you're in the rev range and you really give it some, you can feel that engine just like moving you through space and time. I don't know if that makes sense 100%. Oh my God, the clutch and the shifting suck. It's odd to say, but I wouldn't be that big of a fan of like taking this to the mountains and riding really hard. The seat is super comfortable, so it'd be fun to take it there. But like when I got up into the mountains, I don't know. I don't know if I'd really want this. I love this as like a city bike though. It's just you mob around the city, just like really comfortable seat. Like as far as the seat goes, it's not super soft, but what I've noticed is with a seat on a bike, there's like a middle ground. It has to be not too hard, not too soft, because if it's too soft, it's gonna fatigue you somehow. I don't really know how it works, but like it happens. All I know is it happens. Yeah, you just gotta be really aggressive with shifting gears. Like when you want to go down, you shift down. If you're in the right revs and you give this thing gas, I hope nothing is in front of you, because your front wheel is gonna go up and you're just gonna start accelerating. You're gonna be like, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm gonna take up Mr. What number is this? 46. Alright, let's take a look at this 2016 Monster. Alrighty. Check that out. If you're not a fan of the way the bike looks, that's totally fine. I personally think that this is one of the best looking naked bikes. And not specifically the Monster, the white Monster with the red frame, with the red wheels, with the black engine. You know, I tell you guys, like typically I'm a 2 to 3 color guy, but like this part of the engine being that color, I don't know, it kind of works with this. I don't know how I feel about the shock. Whatever. We got Brembos up front, we got Brembos in the back, we got a loud ass exhaust. This is the piece that was burning my leg, so I don't know what the thought process behind that was, because look how close it is. Like, look how much it sticks out. Like, of course your leg's going to hit that. This can easily be taken off. That's, I mean, you guys have seen these first rides probably. You know that's not the worst thing we've ever seen. Typically, they're all like, they come to the ground. This one's not as bad. I do like that the shock is just sitting there by itself. The tail's a little fat, but when you compare it to the bigness of the front of the bike, you know, it doesn't look that bad. The exhaust actually fits in really well. I know a lot of you guys that get this bike are probably going to upgrade the exhaust like a Terminioni or something like that. I think that's an exhaust a lot of people with Ducatis get. The popping of the red, man. God, yes. Oh, check it out. The oil filter's really low. Probably just turn that right off. Super easy maintenance. That's one thing I love about these naked bikes is when you want to do work on them, like, look, the engine's just there. You just do the work. Like on the R6 or a Super Sport, you gotta spend half the time taking the fairings off. The one thing I did notice about this bike that I wasn't a big fan of, Ducati is one of those brands that has single-sided swing arm. It's like, how do you say, it's one of the design aesthetics that a lot of people get a Ducati for. You can see here, no single-sided swing arm, which is, it's definitely unfortunate. I don't know if that would stop me from buying the bike if I was making that kind of purchase decision. But I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it would be a big deal because there's just something really cool about single-sided swing arms. So enough about looking at this bike. I'm going to crank this up for you guys, and I want you to remember this bike is not going to sound as good as it does in person. I have not found a good microphone to make Ducatis sound like they would to me here while I'm recording this. That being said, I am going to record this with my nicer microphone and put it on my website, Chaseontwowheels.com. For all the first rides, I do a blog post, do some photos, do some audio samples, and all this other kind of stuff. So make sure to check that out if you are interested. But let's get this thing cranked up so you guys can kind of hear it. All right, people, 2016 Ducati Monster 821. Do you guys see that the bike is moving back when I throttle it up? The bike is shaking itself backwards. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to you guys by not having the vocabulary to really explain what it is I think this bike has. Like, the way it feels wise and like settings and stuff like that, it's kind of middle of the road. It's nothing absolutely amazing, but it's still a phenomenal bike for some reason. Low in the revs in sport mode, it is not happy. Which means it might be much better in touring. Oh wow, okay. That's one area I can really tell that touring is helping out. When I was in sport mode, for some reason, if I wasn't giving it a ton of throttle, the bike was just like, it was like shaking or something. Like something didn't feel right. Putting it into touring mode really chills it out down in the revs. It makes it like much easier to ride. So what do I think about the 2016 Ducati Monster 821? Like I said, throttle wise, it's grunty, it's torquey, but it's not the most torquey I've ever ridden by far. Handling is really good up to a point. I think, you know, going around town and stuff like that would be really fun. But then a hardcore riding, I don't know if I would really be into it much on this. Seating position, really upright, slightly forward, very comfortable. You know, stats wise, I think this bike is around middle of the road. But as far as feeling while you're riding, it's got something that I can't really put my finger on, and it's good. Whatever it is a really good thing. It's just like it's a fun riding thing. And you know, it could be that it just fits my riding style right now. It gives me a torquey engine without being too torquey. It's super comfortable. It's agile. You know, it might just fit me right now, and that might be what I'm trying to say. But man, whatever it is, I'm liking it. So who would I recommend this bike to? I'm gonna say, if you have a minimal-ish highway, I wouldn't recommend this to tour on, because you're gonna get a lot of wind, and maybe there's a windscreen you can get, but the seat would be good for touring, but I don't think the engine and the bike would be. I'm thinking your kind of chill weekend bike. I'm thinking downtown or city riding bike. I can't recommend this for the track. I just don't think it would be a good spot for that. You'd have fun on a track. You'd have a great track day, but I don't know if I would buy this for a track bike. I'm going to recommend this hardcore for like your city bike, your weekend bike where you want to take a cruise through the mountains. It would be great with a passenger with such a torquey engine, so maybe your bike for you and your lady to ride around on. That's where I see this bike, man. This is where I see this bike really fitting in. But anyways, guys, that's my first ride on the 2016 Ducati Monster 821. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button to let me know that you like this kind of content. Big shout out to Mountain Motorsports in Roswell this time for letting me borrow these bikes. They are the dealership that let me constantly ride bikes, so I can tell you guys what it's like riding them for the first time. But guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels, and I will see you guys on a Tuesday or a Friday, which is when I put my videos out. Thanks for spending some time with me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later! All right, Mr. Beautiful Ducati. We're out of here.